All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down a really simple but honestly life-changing metaphor. It comes from something called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT for short. It's basically a tool for handling all those annoying, unwanted thoughts that just love to pop up at the absolute worst times. So, I want you to just imagine this for a second. You're at home, maybe you're trying to get some work done, maybe you're just finally sitting down to relax. And then, all of a sudden, you hear it. A loud, really insistent knock on your front door. So what do? What's your first instinct? For a lot of us, it's probably just to ignore it, right? Just, hope they go away. Or maybe you're the type to get a little annoyed, ready to march over there and see who's bothering you. Well, before you decide, let's find out who it is.
Surprise! It's your neighbor. And oh, it's not just any neighbor. It is that one neighbor. You know the one. The very, very annoying one.
And the thing about this neighbor is she is just so predictable. She only shows up when you're on a tight deadline, or when you're completely exhausted, or right in the middle of an important conversation. And if you try to ignore her, oh, she just knocks louder. It's like she has this built-in radar for exactly when you're stressed, and just fighting with her, or even just thinking about her showing up, totally drains you of all your energy.
So why are we spending all this time talking about this imaginary person? Well, because this neighbor, she isn't really a neighbor at all. She's actually a stand-in for something much, much closer to home.
That's it. Right there. That annoying neighbor represents all those unwanted guests that show up in your mind. Anxiety, self-doubt, that little voice that tells you you're not good enough, worry. Think about it. They show up uninvited, they get way louder when we try to push them away, and they totally suck our energy away from the things we actually want to be doing. And this comparison just lays it out perfectly. Our gut instinct is to fight, right? We either try to ignore the thought, pretend it's not there, or we get into a full-blown argument with it in our heads, trying to prove it wrong. But all that does is waste our precious energy, and ironically, it gives the thought even more power over us. Now, the ACT approach, it's completely different. Instead of fighting, you just acknowledge it. You accept that it's there without judging it, and then, and this is the absolute key, you pivot your focus back to what's actually important to you. So this brings us to the solution. And I'll admit, it might sound a little strange, a little counterintuitive at first. This isn't about winning the fight. It's about dropping the rope in that mental tug of war. The solution is acceptance.
Okay, so let's be super clear about what acceptance means here. It does not mean you like the thought or that you agree with it. It's not giving up. It's simply the act of allowing that thought to just be there, in the background, without getting into a brawl with it. You're just letting go of the struggle, and that frees up so much mental energy for other things.
This is such a powerful little phrase to keep in your back pocket for when that neighbor comes knocking. A thought like, I'm definitely going to fail this, can feel so incredibly real in the moment. But if you can pause and remind yourself, okay, I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail. It's just a thought, it's not reality. You create this little bit of breathing room. You can see it without being swallowed by it. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But what about in the real world? How do we actually use this idea when the pressure is really on? Let's get into some practical, everyday ways to make this work. It really just boils down to these 3 simple steps. First, you just notice. Notice that the neighbor has shown up. You can even name it like, there's my old you're not good enough thought again. Step 2 is to accept that it's there. You could even say to yourself, hey, neighbor, I see you, but I'm a little busy right now. And third, you consciously act. You redirect your attention and your energy back to what is actually important to you in that moment. And trust me, your neighbor just loves to visit during these high-stakes moments. You're staring down a huge work deadline and boom, the what if I don't finish thought kicks down the door. You're about to give a big presentation and the what if I completely freeze up thought is screaming in your ear. Or maybe you're in a tough conversation and that they just don't get me feeling is overwhelming. In every single one of these moments, the process is the same. Notice it, accept it's there, and then refocus on what you need to do. And ultimately, all of this leads to the real goal of the whole practice. And the goal isn't to have some perfectly quiet, empty, thought-free mind. No, the goal is something much, much bigger. It's about living your life on your own terms.
So here's the honest truth. You're probably never going to get rid of your annoying neighbor for good. Our brains are basically thought-generating machines, and that means some of those thoughts are going to be negative or unhelpful. Trying to get a permanently silent mind is just an exhausting and impossible mission. And this is the final and I think most empowering piece of the puzzle. You can't stop the neighbor from hopping in the car with you, but you never, ever have to give her the keys. Your thoughts, your feelings, they can be passengers chattering away in the backseat all they want. But you, your values, your goals, what truly matters to you, you have to be the one in the driver's seat, always choosing the direction.
So the next time you hear that knock at the door, the next time that unhelpful thought pops up, you can acknowledge it, and then you can gently turn your attention right back to this question. Because when you're really clear on your answer, all that chatter from the neighbor, well, it just becomes background noise on a journey that you are in control of.